Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
If it's entertainment you want this weekend, look no further than the world of sport. When it comes to movies, for example, you get a drama, you get a thriller, you get this and that. But sport captures it all. Thrilling moments, the drama, the romance, everything you want, even comedy is thrown right in there as the world comes out to play at home as well as abroad. And right here at ZiFM Sport, we pick it apart with the team in studio made up of Alois Bunjira, former Zimbabwe international, back in the studio after a brief 3-day hiatus. He's in good health. He's in fine fettle. Barry Benandi is also in the studio, as is our producer Sean Tafirenyika. My name is Mike Madoda. What can you look forward to? Well, action is already underway and Zimbabwe and Syria are locked at 1-1 after day one of Davis Cup action in the World Group 2 playoff time, as Benjamin Locke had to pick up the pieces after Mehluli Simanda lost the opening singles rubber at Harare Sports Club.
In international sport, Eddie Jones admits England will be motivated by revenge when they face Wales in a Six Nations clash. They must win to remain in title contention. In Around the World in 60 seconds, we begin in Potchefstroom, where the Proteas fast bowler Lungingidi insisted that tomorrow's final one-day international against Australia will not be a dead rubber, as South Africa eye a whitewash in Florida. Matt Every continued his impressive Bay Hill record to upstage Rory McIlroy and move into a one-shot lead after the opening round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And in Texas, Kawhi Leonard scored 25 points, while Ivica Zubac and Montrezl Harrell posted double-doubles as the visiting LA Clippers drubbed the Houston Rockets.
Our weekend preview in the beautiful game kicks off in the CAF Champions League. We're ahead of the quarterfinal return leg against Al Ahly tomorrow. Mamelodi Sundowns, Cabo Yellow, have announced that 34-year-old captain Hlompo Kekana has extended his stay at the club by signing a new 4-year deal. In the Premier League, the noisy neighbours Manchester City travel 4 miles from the Etihad Stadiums to Old Trafford on Sunday afternoon to square off against Manchester United in the 182nd Manchester derby. In La Liga, Atletico Madrid and Sevilla go head-to-head at the Wanda Metropolitano in a game that could prove to be massive in the race for Champions League places. And then we also have stories out of the Bundesliga as well as Syria, where the Derby d'Italia between Juventus and Internazionale has been rearranged for Sunday following last weekend's postponement.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Let's start with tennis news. Zimbabwe and Syria locked at 1-1 after day one of Davis Cup action in the World Group 2 playoff tie, as Benjamin Locke had to pick up the pieces after Mehluli Simanda lost the opening singles rubber at Harare Sports Club, playing as an enforced replacement for Takanyi Garanganga, who injured his knee yesterday. Mehluli Simanda struggled to deal with his nerves, and in his first ever live singles rubber, he went down 6-3, 6-3 to Syrian Hazem No.
I mean, I had an idea I would play, but Takanyi wasn't struggling on Tuesday. He had his strap, wasn't complaining. Only on Thursday, he didn't practice. I practiced with him in the morning fine, but in the afternoon he couldn't. So they had to put me on late yesterday to change the nomination. But I was just nervous, to be honest. Could barely sleep last night. So was first live rubber for me, but it gets better, I think. I think I played terrible tennis. I wasn't striking the ball well, but I have to give credit to the other guy for playing solid. He played really solid, especially on his backhand side. And it was really tough for me to find my range today, but it happened and we move on. As you can see, I'm about to practice not to work on some stuff I was doing wrong this morning. So yeah, just need to get ready for tomorrow and suck myself up, not to just keep my head up.
Z.
Now the victor of that first singles rubber, Hazem Noor of Syria, he was making his Davis Cup debut. He says he's pleased he got the first point for his country.
I was a little bit nervous in the beginning, but I break him in the beginning and I managed to get the set. He was not feeling good, I think, and I built on this, and in the end it was also first Davis Cup match for me, and I managed to make the win. In the winter I practiced a lot before I came on hard court. Actually, summer season always we play on clay, and also with this level, I mean, my opponent was a really good player. I think he's around 800 ATP, so with this level you have just to stay solid and don't make mistakes. Who make less mistakes, I think he wins.
Z.
And that's exactly what happened, isn't it, Barry? Hazem Noor of Syria made less mistakes than the very nervous Mehluli Sivanda of Zimbabwe. Mehluli admitting there that he was very nervous, he was very tense in the lead-up. I think the short notice didn't help in terms of the injury withdrawal of Takanyi Garanganga, and so he had an error-strewn performance, and I'm glad he points it out, because he'll know which things he needs to rectify if he's to perhaps have a game later on tomorrow and perhaps get a different result from the one that he got today.
That's exactly the point, isn't it? That if you know what the problem is, you're one step closer to fixing it. And the good thing is that he was very honest with himself, that he didn't make excuses about perhaps something in the weather went wrong with him. No, he talked about the fact that he was nervous. He needed to settle himself down, and admittedly, if he didn't get much sleep, chances are he wasn't concentrating as well.
Well, let's take a look at the stats, Barry, and they of course really capture the nervous performance of Mehluli Sivanda. He won half the games that his opponent Hazem Noor won. He won 6, of course. Hazem Noor winning 12, and once you are behind on the games, you are ultimately going to lose the game. In terms of double faults, he had more. He had 5 as opposed to his opponent, who only had 3. And then if you take a look, Barry, a telling statistic for me is down to the service games won. Mehluli Sivanda only winning 5 out of 9. That's 56%. Right. Hazem Noor 8 out of 9, 89%. So if you take a look at the stats, they favor the visitors, and no doubt they were able to get the point on the board very early in that contest at Harare Sports Club. And we talked about how crucial that first point is, Barry, because it meant that when Benjamin Locke came out to play, he knew that he couldn't make any mistakes.
Exactly, and in truth, Benjamin Locke was under a little bit of pressure, because now he had to deliver because of the fact that we had lost our first game. And you're so right. And that stat that you gave last, those service games are easily where the game was won or lost. You hold your serve and you're able to break your opponent, you've got a good chance in any game that you play. So in truth, I would say, just as you said on the show day before yesterday, when you talked about the fact that let's not look at this as a gimme against Syria. It's going to be tight. Look at it. It's evenly balanced.
I think there were just 5 or 6 rankings points separating Zimbabwe and Syria. So it meant that these are 2 evenly balanced teams that we're going to be contesting, and it's worked out in our favor that we are having to play this, of course, a tie here at home at Harare Sports Club as opposed to in Syria. Now, Benjamin Locke, he did very well to level the tie for Zimbabwe as he overcame a sluggish first set to defeat Syrian Amir Noor 6-3, 6-3.
Yeah, of course. I mean, no one wants to start down 1-0, and in this format with 2 sets, a match can go so quickly. So obviously, naturally, I felt the pressure coming out there, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to the atmosphere of the court. Like I told you guys throughout the week, a match and practice is completely different. So, I was struggling. I was actually hitting the ball pretty well in the first set. I just wasn't serving as good as I normally do. But towards the end of the first set and the whole second set, I served great. And I was under no pressure whatsoever from that point onwards. So, but credit to him. He played a lot better than I thought he would. He put the ball in court and he fought hard, and he came up with some important plays on some very important points. Listen, I think if I'd held serve 4-1 in the first set, I think it would have been pretty routine. So it was just one bad game, but otherwise I was pretty happy with my performance.
Z.
Pretty happy with his performance. Benji Locke, their routine victory for him, Barry. And so you'd like to think the way he's playing, the sort of form he is in, we can bank on him to pick up a point tomorrow, which means that it comes down to the crucial doubles.
The doubles, exactly. And you got to think to yourself that with him in our doubles mix, if we play according to our ability in the doubles, then we've got this tie locked up. And my thoughts are that we're still well in it.
Oh, well, locked up is the word to use, Barry, because it will be Courtney Locke who teams up with Benji Locke for the doubles, and they're confident Zimbabwe can lock down a crucial point with the doubles win. Let's hear from Courtney.
Benji and I, we take a lot of pride in our doubles. We both enjoy it a lot. It's something we've been practicing all week, focusing on. So trying not to overthink it. We kind of just been doing our same routines. Come out tomorrow and play the way we've been playing for a long time now. I think we've been very successful in the way we do things. So we're not going to change anything. We just keep to our routines and keep the way we want to play.
Well, the winners from the playoff will play another tie later in the year for promotion to Group 1 for 2021. The losing side will drop into Group 3. And of course, we wish Zimbabwe all the best of luck tomorrow at Harare Sports Club. This is ZiFM Sport, the weekend preview. Do get in touch with us with your thoughts if you're out at Harare Sports Club, or if you're a tennis fan or just a sports fan. We want to hear from you on 0731 168 045. That platform strictly WhatsApp 0731 168 045. We are also on Twitter and Facebook. Follow and interact with @ZiFM Sport. Coming up, the rest of your local sports news roundup before we go to our international sports news, where Eddie Jones and England are holding centre court ahead of their big clash versus Wales at the home of rugby, Twickenham.
Hi, this is Benjamin Locke. I'm on the Zimbabwe Davis Cup team, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
You are tuned into ZiFM Sport. Let's take you around and let you know what's happening locally in the world of sport. And of course, the Zimbabwe Chevrons are in action in Sylhet. It's a third one-day international day-night match versus Bangladesh. The Chevrons in action, and in their innings, Bangladesh scoring 322 for the loss of only 3 wickets. That was in 43 overs. And Zimbabwe now in response. Zimbabwe, it's absolute carnage. In fact, just talking about the Bangladesh innings, Tamim Iqbal with 128 not out off 109 balls. Litan Das, that man who's been doing all the damage, he made 176 off 143 balls. He was caught by Sikandar Raza off the bowling of Kyle Mumba. And looking at the Zimbabwean innings, as you say, Michael, absolute carnage. The chase has not gone well at all. 33 overs played, 198 for the loss of 7 wickets, and that is in 33.3 overs. No one has made any sort of dent on the Bangladeshi bowling. The best figures we've recorded are off Sikandar Raza. He's still at the crease. He's got 46. That's off 37 balls. Wesley Madevere still doing well. The young man, the 19-year-old, scored 42 off 42 balls. A runner ball, that one. But he went out off the bowling of Mohammed Saifuddin. He was caught by Mehidi Hassan. The only other person to get any sort of runs was Regis Chakaba with 34.
Listen, we were not scoring anywhere near quick enough. Right now, the equation is that Zimbabwe requires another 142 runs with 3 wickets and 55 balls remaining.
Yep.
You know, you talk about the likes of Madevere. He's, of course, the strike rate, 100. Kamunu Kamwe at the top of the order as well, 100, but he just made 4 runs. But we don't have anyone who had like a really incredible strike rate that would have put pressure on Bangladesh. Raza is still there. He's got 127. That's his strike rate. But he needs someone else to come in and fire and score pretty quickly. Right now, you take a look at that equation, Barry. It's almost nigh impossible to get. Yeah, it looks like the match is done.
Match done, and it's going to be a series whitewash in the one-day internationals against Bangladesh. All right, let's give you some more news and rugby news. Bulawayo Metropolitan Rugby Football Board has challenged the decision to dissolve its board by the Zimbabwe Rugby Union ahead of the ZRU's elective annual general meeting tomorrow. ZRU dissolved the BM BMRFB board, accusing it of paralyzing the smooth running of the game in Bulawayo, despite the new board's efforts to revive and expand the game in the province. ZRU Chief Executive Officer Sifiso Made said the national body's executive reached a unanimous decision to dissolve the BMRFB due to infighting within the provincial association. That one is playing out rather interestingly. We'll see how the AGM goes tomorrow. Finally, boxing, where Charles Manucci's trainer Ali Otto Piri has said preparations for his boxer's fight against Mohamed Sebiala were going on well, and they were ready for the fight. The boxing superstar is facing the Ugandan for the World Africa Boxing Association WABA Lightweight Championship on the 3rd of April at the Harare City Sports Centre, with almost a month before the big fight, which will be the main event of what looks like an exciting bout card. Otto is already champing at the bit.
From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
0731-168-045. That's our WhatsApp number, 0731-168-045. Let us know what your thoughts are, whether you want to talk about the chevrons, you want to talk about the derbies that are all over the world this weekend. We are here to read your messages during the Fan Zone. For now, we go international with our sports news, where Eddie Jones admits England will be motivated by revenge when they face Wales in a Six Nations clash. They must win to remain in title contention. The build-up to tomorrow's game at Twickenham may have been overshadowed by the announcement that England's final game against Italy in Rome has been postponed, but Jones's focus remains on Wales, with the Australian having made 2 changes for the showdown after naming Anthony Watson on the right wing in place of Jonathan Joseph, and covering for Sam Underhill's head injury by picking Mark Wilson at open side.
Yeah, well, it's massive news, us playing Wales on Saturday. Massive, because it's going to be an unbelievable game of rugby. You know, they're a well-coached team. We know they've lost their last 2, so they're going to come hard at us. And that's the only thing we can talk about, guys. There isn't any great change at the moment. You know, there's still a very good team. They're semi-finalists of the World Cup. You know, to get the semi-final of the World Cup, you've got to be a good team. You know, the last 3 games are the ones that are great for England, playing Scotland, Ireland and Wales. And, you know, they're traditional, they're tough. It means a lot to all the countries, so yeah, no, it's a good weekend.
Now that loss from last time out last season will be, they're smarting, England are smarting from that, and they'll want to undo the hurt that they experienced last season, and that's the revenge that Eddie Jones has on his mind, isn't it?
But I have a problem with Eddie Jones and his choice of words, because it seems that he, instead of motivating his players, more often than not, he's able to get the other team to
psyched
respond.
up.
Psyched up. Because when you talk about revenge, you know, for me, that just puts the opposition on red alert.
Yeah, and it sort of undoes your game plan, because now what you're doing is you're taking it from a head game into a heart game where emotions are now involved, and sometimes emotions cannot be your best friend.
And you're motivated by, you know what, the pain of the past. For me, this should just be about England trying to win the game, trying to keep themselves in contention to win the Six Nations. You know, there's nothing really at stake. There's nothing really. This is not a World Cup year. This is just about building on England's performances of the last 4 years, where they came so close to winning the World Cup, losing to the final to South Africa. So for me, that's what he should be talking about. I mean, you know, I've loved the deafening silence from New Zealand. No one knows what's happening in New Zealand. No one knows the thought processes of Ian Robertson. Why? Because you know what? They've realized that for once in 15 years, they can operate under the radar.
Exactly.
No one's going to put pressure on them. If they lose a game, so what? We're no longer the best side in the world. And I think England should have embraced that as well, to say, okay, South Africa, you're the world champions. You deal with the publicity. You deal with the
pressure
scrutiny. You deal with the pressure. We're just going to operate without pressure. Allow ourselves to lose a few games. Allow ourselves to have a couple of bad performances. But we should be talking about, you know what, we are building a squad that's going to be good enough to try and repeat what we did at the last World Cup, and to go one step better.
We saw it going into the France game, which opened the tournament. This Six Nations.
Opened his mouth. What happened?
And they lost.
They lost against Scotland. They dodged a bullet.
Is he his own worst enemy?
Yes.
Old Eddie Jones.
Yes, his mouth.
He should shut up. Just play the game.
And just play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at Wales because they are the opposition. Now, Wayne Pivich insists there will be no holding back from his Wales side when they play against England tomorrow.
Oh, look, I think we've prepared as well as we can. We've got a good side taking the field, and we're going there to try and improve each week and improve on the French performance, which, apart from the scoreline, we did well in most areas of the game. We're pretty happy with the outcomes, but fine margins, the intercept pass, refereeing decision, which, looking back now, I think everyone would agree was probably a penalty try. So those are big moments in games, and so we think we're on the right track. We've just got to keep working hard.
All right, and so Wales have not suffered 3 defeats on the bounce in one Six Nations campaign since 2007, while it is 8 years since they claimed an away win against England in the tournament. It's a good side, but they'll need to overcome that last bit of that stat, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely. The last bit, Barry, England have dominated them at Twickenham, and also their form. They've lost the last 2 matches. They've lost to the Irish, they've lost to the French. They don't have a realistic hope of winning the tournament, and so they'll be playing for nothing but pride. It's going to be a difficult game, and I tip England to win this one, possibly by 10.
Yeah, possibly by 10, says Mike Madoda. I can't argue with that, but Scotland face France in the other Six Nations clash. Ireland's game versus Italy was postponed due to the coronavirus outbreak in that country. All right, some Super Rugby results for you. For results first and then the fixtures this weekend. The results look like this. The Chiefs, way too strong for the Waratahs, 51-14. That one ended. Crusaders, 24-20 over the Reds. And then the Brumbies, 47-14 over the Sunwolves. Your weekend fixtures look like this. Hurricanes will entertain the Blues. The Rebels take on the Lions. Sharks entertain the Jaguares. And it's Bulls versus the Highlanders.
Hi, I'm JC Krill, Springbok and Blue Bulls backline player. You are listening to ZiFM Sports.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We start stateside in Florida, where Matt Every has continued his impressive Bay Hill record to upstage Rory McIlroy and move into a one-shot lead after the opening round of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Every, a 2-time winner of the event, carded a stunning bogey-free 65 in breezy conditions yesterday afternoon to jump ahead of morning pace setter Rory McIlroy. Action in the Arnold Palmer Invitational continues throughout the weekend. Let's go to Texas, where Kawhi Leonard scored 25 points, while Ivica Zubac and Montrezl Harrell posted double-doubles as the visiting LA Clippers drubbed the Houston Rockets 120-105 in a game that ended early this morning. The Clippers extended their winning streak to 6 consecutive games, and perhaps of greater significance, squared the season series with Houston at 2 games apiece. This weekend's big NBA matchup sees the number 1 team in the Western Conference, the LA Lakers, square up against the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks. And we touch down in South Africa, Potchefstroom, where Proteas fast bowler Lungi Ngidi insists that tomorrow's final one-day international against Australia will not be a dead rubber as South Africa eye a whitewash. Ngidi took a career best 6 for 58 as the Proteas took a 2-0 lead in the 3-match one-day international series on Wednesday with a 6-wicket victory in Bloemfontein. That victory saw Proteas coach Mark Boucher record his first series win since his appointment last year in December.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. The beating drum. Roaring fans. Take a ride on the wild side with the Africa Report on ZiFM Sport.
Weekend fixtures in the CAF Champions League lead the way. It's the second leg of the quarter-finals. Etoile du Sahel versus Wydad Casablanca. Wydad lead 2-0 on aggregate. So Etoile will have it all to do. And also having it all to do is TP Mazembe. They are hosting Raja Casablanca after they lost 2-0 in Morocco. Esperance will take on Zamalek, with Zamalek leading 3-1 on aggregate. And there is a bit of action in Musansi at the Lucas Masterpieces Moripe Stadium in Attridgeville, Pretoria, where Alois Bunjira plied his trade, where Alois Bunjira showed off his skill when he was turning out for Kaboyelo Masandawana Bafana style. Mamelodi Sundowns versus Al Ahly, and of course the Egyptian side leading 2-0. Those are your quarter-final fixtures. Before we discuss them, news out of Pretoria is that the CAF Champions League side Mamelodi Sundowns has announced that 34-year-old captain Hlompo Kekana has extended his stay at the club by signing a new 4-year deal. The Bafana International has made over 300 first-team appearances for Sundowns since joining the club in 2011. Kekana has had an illustrious career with the Brazilians, winning 4 ABSA Premiership titles, 1 Nedbank Cup title, 1 Telkom Knockout Cup, 1 CAF Champions League trophy, and 1 Super Cup. Now, the club in a statement said the skipper has been an integral part of the Brazilians team in the CAF Champions League, featuring in 5 games during this season's campaign. Now, Alois, I remember we had a discussion around FC Platinum where we talked about, one of the problems that FC Platinum had was that they were having a high staff turnover in terms of their playing staff, that they were chopping and changing, which means that a side which will go into their 4th campaign in the next few months goes relatively inexperienced because they've just been chopping and changing their players and there hasn't been any consistency. So had they stuck with some of the players that they had in the first campaign, you can imagine how experienced FC Platinum would be in this campaign that they're going through. And we see Sundowns, their approach there. Hlompo Kekana, 34 years old, he's been given a 4-year contract because they value continuity.
Yeah, exactly, Mike. We spoke about that, and it's not a rocket science. You need your combinations, you need your continuity, you need the consistency,
leadership, experience.
Exactly. Sometimes it's not about the ability of the player on the ball. It's more about a lot of things: leadership, being a team man, everything. You see Hlompo Kekana, probably he's 34. He will be 38 at the time when he is about 36. There will be other younger players who will have better ability than him.
And he'll just be a squad player.
But he will be a squad player.
But he knows the terrain.
Exactly. See, this is what we are failing to achieve with FC Platinum. 4th year running, they should be having players, half the team having played for the past 3 years with the team, going into the fourth edition. But what do? They're going with the rookies
and getting rid of their more experienced players. Were you surprised, Barry, just picking as an example Devon Chaffa, that they let go of the experienced Devon Chaffa?
That's a Hlompo Kekana right there.
Devon Chaffa plays in the same position.
Big time.
And he is younger than Hlompo Kekana.
Younger than Hlompo Kekana.
He had the experience of that CAPS United run in the CAF Champions League. So he's been in that terrain. He knows the terrain, Devon Chaffa. Very experienced player, 1 titles with Dynamos. So he's done it before with CAPS United. They get rid of him. The fact that Devon Chaffa is highly rated sees him immediately snapped up by title chasers and Ngezi Platinum Stars. It shows you that they think, listen, he can give us experience, he can give us value. Did FC Platinum miss a trick there with Devon?
Totally. And you can see by the caliber of club that snapped him up, because that always tells you at which point a player's career is. Towards the latter end.
Had he gone to Yada?
If he's going to Yada, he's going to Cranbourne Bullets. You can tell that, look, he's on his way out. But to be snapped up by a team that is chasing the title and realize that if we want the title, we need players of this ilk, means that FC Platinum may have blinked when they shouldn't have, because they're going back into the Champions League in August. They need those experienced players, and for me, they don't have them anymore.
When you take a look, just getting back to the action, the quarterfinals in the CAF Champions League, Alois, and you run your eye over those fixtures. Listen, those are the 8 top teams on the continent, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And CAF
you could just pick them.
Yeah, CAF will be happy that, you know what, it's gone out this way, because all those matches in the quarterfinals are bound to be barnstorming encounters.
If you just get asked by anybody to just pick the best 8 teams in Africa, I'm sure you pick 6 of those.
Yeah, you're going to mention Al Ahly, Samalek, Raja Casablanca,
Sundowns,
Wydad,
TP Mazembe. You definitely pick at least 6 of those teams. That's the cream of African football. And when you go back, it comes back to the consistency. We spoke about Al Ahly. Look at their players. Most of their players have been with the club for the past 6-7 years.
Absolutely.
Look at most of the clubs.
The combinations are set.
They are set. They are still the same players that they've had. They have had that CAF Champions League experience. That's what is taking them this far.
Okay, let's hear your predictions. Mamelodi Sundowns, can they overcome the might of Al Ahly? Remember, they smacked them for 5, I think, the last time when they were in South Africa. So they will have that, confidence that we can beat this team and we can beat them heavily. But the Egyptians have got a 2-0 lead on aggregate at the halfway stage of this tie. Get in touch with us on Twitter. Follow and interact with @ZiFM Sport.
All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudence. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
Now, the noisy neighbours, in quotation marks, Manchester City travel 4 miles from the Etihad Stadium to Old Trafford on Sunday afternoon to square off against Manchester United in the 182nd Manchester derby. Now, the Red Devils will be desperate to complete a league double over City after beating the Citizens 2-1 in the reverse fixture earlier this season, thanks to goals from Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford. Harry Maguire is doubtful for the derby after missing Manchester United's FA Cup tie at Derby with a slight ankle injury. Let's hear from Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, and he'll probably miss out on this one as well. And Marcus and Paul still out. And I think Aaron might be struggling. He's got a test today, but he struggled against in the last game. So against Everton with his back. So he might be out.
With all those players missing, you look at the United lineup versus a City side that seems back to their best. How does this one play out, Michael?
Yeah, this one I think all eyes will be on Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United. He's had an absolutely storming start to his Manchester United career. He's been absolutely brilliant, and I think he's been the standout player in the league over the last 3 or so weeks. And for me, if I had to nominate the player of the month of February, I'll probably give it to him, Bruno Fernandes, because of the impact that he has made, not just in Manchester United, but in the league. And so it'll come down to how he is able to play. This is his first big test. He hasn't played in a big match against big opponents, against a side that's going to have big and better plans for and better plans for him. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts or plays in a side that's going to hog possession. Make no mistake about it, City are going to have more of the ball. Their midfield of Kevin De Bruyne, the likes of Bernardo Silva, Fernandinho, etc., Rodri, those are really good players. So we want to see how Bruno is able to adapt his play to a more capable opponent. If he has a good game, Manchester United will be in this contest, because what he does is he's able to create chances, and he's always to get Manchester United play going forward.
And I'm glad that Mike responded to the question of all the missing players for United with the one player who is available, who's done a job. And he's shown that he's got a big character, because when he arrived in England, he went straight into the starting lineup and showed exactly what he's capable of. Yes, it was lesser opposition to Manchester City, but you got to think to yourself, on the body of that work, he might have a good showing in this match.
Yeah, I think he does. And what I like about him is about his belief. He believes in himself. He's bossy. You know, he is commanding the midfield. It's like he has been there forever. You know, he does everything. You can see when he gets the ball, he does what he wants. Because I like that kind of arrogance. He has got this positive arrogance around him that, you know, he believes that, you know, I can do this, and I'm better. And I'm not surprised if he goes into that match saying, you know what De Bruyne can do, I can also do. You know, he has got that kind of mentality. So we wait and see. We wait and see, because like Mike said, he is facing an opponents that are going to have more of the ball than him. So we want to see how he responds to that. How he reacts to that is going to be key.
And that opponent is, of course, Manchester City. And Kevin De Bruyne is a doubt for Sunday's Manchester derby after missing City's FA Cup victory over Sheffield Wednesday with a shoulder injury, according to manager Pep Guardiola.
He's getting better. So today we didn't train. Tomorrow we'll prove. But I spoke This morning was a physio and said feels better. Not perfect, but feels better. We'll see. I said the last time we played against them in Carabao Cup that what I saw in videos in the games as the players follow him, absolutely the way, the commitment they have, and it's getting better. And right now maybe it's the best moment in the season they are.
They say it's a squad game, don't they, Michael? And if Kevin De Bruyne is not available, you got to think to yourself, if there's a team that won't miss Kevin De Bruyne as much as other teams might, it's Manchester City.
Yeah, it's Man City. They got a squad, a decent enough squad, and so they should be able to bring players in that should perform. I think Bernardo Silva hasn't been playing at his best over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
We've seen him better.
We have seen him better, so he's going to be motivated to put in a performance, just to remind everyone of how talented and how good he is. So this one is an interesting one in that the venue where Manchester United has done well versus Man City in recent times is at the Etihad. And Man City has always come to Old Trafford in recent times and actually done the business. So that's something that United will be seeking to address in this particular match. You know, I believe that you've got to make your home ground a fortress.
You have to.
You know, you can lose away from home, but you've got to protect your home turf. And in the development of this Ole Gunnar Solskjaer Manchester United, that's one thing they're going to have to learn to do, to make sure that, hey, when teams come to Old Trafford, no matter how good they are, teams at Old Trafford will drop points. And I think Klopp managed to do that with Liverpool. Even before Liverpool went on this run of fine form in the last 2 years, he got Liverpool defending Anfield. Getting good wins. Remember, Man City came and they were smacked 4 past them. And then in the other game, they had 3 put past them. So they learned to win at Anfield. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the likes of Bruno have got to defend Old Trafford before they start thinking of progressing.
Goals win matches. Sergio Aguero versus Anthony Martial, Odion Ighalo, Mason Greenwood, whoever's picked. Who wins that battle in terms of the strikers?
You know, personally, I'm a fan of Aguero. You know, he's my fantasy captain.
That's why you're.
But I wouldn't want him to win this battle. You know, I hope that Manchester United does.
Who do you start of the 3? For United.
For United, I'll start with Rashford, Greenwood, and
Rashford are unavailable, injured.
Yeah, that's a problem. You see now.
I'll go with Ighalo.
After 2 goals.
With
the goals midweek,
with his goals that he scored midweek, I'll go with him. I'll go with Martial, Ighalo, and I'll take Greenwood with him. I'll keep the 3. Then we can maintain. We can actually protect our theatre. It used to be theatre of dreams, man.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of nightmares as well. All right,
come on.
After David Moyes, it became nightmares.
Predictions. Go, Michael.
Predictions. I am going for 2-2 draw.
Oh, sitting on the fence. That's a first in a long time. Okay, Punch.
I think the atmosphere and morale in the camp is very high. At Manchester United.
Morale is high.
So I'm going with 2-1 to Manchester United.
2-1 to United.
Very bananas.
Martial and Greenwood.
Okay, and listen, Bunj, I'm not being a hater. I just think that City are on a run of form that's immaculate. I think it's going to be 3-1 in favour of City.
All right.
Fair enough.
The rest of your fixtures look like this. Liverpool will take on Bournemouth to put right the wrongs of the past 3 weeks. Wolves will take on Brighton. Arsenal versus West Ham. Southampton versus Newcastle United. Sheffield versus Norwich. It's Crystal Palace versus Watford. Burnley versus Tottenham. Chelsea will take on Everton. Leicester will entertain Aston Villa. And then, like we said, it's United versus City in the city of Manchester. And the quick one here. Premier League has banned players and match officials from shaking hands from this weekend until further notice on medical advice. Teams and officials will still participate in the pre-match walkouts, but have been advised against the tradition of shaking hands.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic. All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
Los Rojiblancos, Atletico Madrid, they take on Sevilla. The two teams going head-to-head at the Wanda Metropolitano in a game that could prove to be massive in the race for the Champions League places. Both teams are among top 5 in the standings, with Atleti sitting in 5th place with 44 points, while Sevilla are up at 3rd, having collected 2 more points. So just the 2 points are separating the sides, Barry Menandi. And this one here is, listen, the classic 6-pointer, isn't it?
It really is.
And the only thing that they are playing for is Champions League football.
Absolutely. And for me, I think 2 things. Firstly, it's at the Wanda Metropolitano. Secondly, I think Atletico Madrid has rediscovered its defensive mojo. So I foresee a scenario where it's the irresistible force versus the immovable object type scenario in this match. And for me, usually when that happens, Diego Simeone's side emerges victorious.
Well, talking about that defensive resilience, Barry, that you're talking about, Atleti have been very hard to beat at the Wanda, as they have lost just once in their last 20 games in La Liga. They have also won 4 of their last 5 league games on home soil. But Sevilla, Alois, is a very unpredictable side. When they are hot, they are hot.
They do attack, that's why he said the irresistible force, and they can come at you, and you won't know what hit you. But I don't see them breaching Atletico Madrid at the Wanda, because I've watched them play, and they're very, very difficult to beat as well. I can actually see Sevilla being hit on the counter, and actually conceding not just one, they might just lose heavily.
Okay.
At the Wanda Metropolitano.
Give us a scoreline, please.
3-1.
3-1.
That's Atletico.
Boss, I'm going to say 1-0 to Atleti.
1-0 to Atleti. So both of you are in agreement that Atleti will win. I think so as well. I think I'm going with 2-0 to Atletico Madrid. The rest of your La Liga weekend fixtures: Alaves versus Valencia, Eibar versus Mallorca, Barcelona will entertain Real Sociedad at the Camp Nou, Getafe versus Celta Vigo, Osasuna welcome Espanyol, Real Valladolid versus the Athletic Club of Bilbao, Levante versus Granada, Villarreal versus Leganes, and Real Betis will host Real Madrid.
Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
Strikers Wout Weghorst and Timo Werner could have a big say in who comes out on top between Wolfsburg and Red Bull Leipzig tomorrow. While, like Wolfsburg, Leipzig came from behind to register a point in their meeting with Bayer Leverkusen last weekend. Professionalism, Michael, professionalism. Die Rotten Bullen have lost only one. Red Bull have only lost one of their last 15 Bundesliga matches. But while Julian Nagelsmann's title contenders claimed a table-topping 37 points during the first half of the campaign, they dropped 9 of a possible 21 since the turn of the year. They have gone a little off the rails. We thought that they were the ones to watch, but you need consistency, and you always talk about it, Bunch. Unfortunately, they haven't found it.
It's lacking. When they were blowing like that, you remember I actually spoke about it, that I hope that they maintain this. I actually said it, that I hope they maintain it, but they are not. They failed. They've disappointed me, because I was hoping that they will put on the pressure. So the only hope there in the Bundesliga can only be Borussia Dortmund. They are the ones that we can actually think about when they are on form, when they are pushing. We can actually think that they can stretch all the way.
All right, your Bundesliga weekend fixtures: Paderborn versus Cologne, Bayer Leverkusen, Eintracht Frankfurt, Hertha Berlin will take on Werder Bremen, Freiburg versus Union Berlin, Schalke will take on Hoffenheim, Borussia Mönchengladbach host Borussia Dortmund, while Bayern Munich will take on Augsburg, Mainz versus Fortuna Düsseldorf, and it is Wolfsburg who will host Red Bull Leipzig.
Okay, let's give you your Serie A fixtures as we wrap up the show. All games to be played in empty stadiums due to the coronavirus fears. Parma versus Spal, Sampdoria will take on Hellas Verona, AC Milan versus Genoa, Udinese versus Fiorentina, La Viola, Sassuolo versus Brescia, and then there's the small matter of the Derby d'Italia. Is Juventus taking on Internazionale, possibly the biggest game of the weekend aside from the Manchester Derby. And just enough time, guys, to just a quick comment here, Alois. Inter lose this one, I think they can kiss their title hopes goodbye.
Yeah, they need to stay in it. They need to win against Juve. I want them to win.
Can they?
For obvious reasons.
Can they win?
But they can. They have got the squad. They've got the team. What they need is the tactical acumen. They need to plan for this game.
And
they need to come plan.
And the man who will be under pressure is Antonio Conte.
Yes.
Because Barry, like I asked Alois, surely to be curtains if they don't win this one.
It will be curtains. I think he was brought in to do exactly what he's on the verge of doing. So he's got to stay in the hunt, stay in it, and if he can do that, then he's got every right to stay in the job.
Give me a scoreline.
Inter 2-1.
Inter 2-1, Alois?
I want Inter 1-0.
1-0. Yeah. I say Inter 2-1 as well.
I reckon, the front two is going to...
I hope it happens that way. I hope so.
Can't go winners.
I'm
a Juve fan.
I'm a Juve fan as well.
Yeah.
I just want excitement, and I like that front two, Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez. So I want them to do well, even though it's against my club. We got to go. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manande, out.